My fellow parents, my fellow women, let us be the first counselors in our children's lives. Most of us leave that to schools. When you take your children to school, you expect the teachers, the senior women teachers, the senior male teachers to speak to your children, most especially the adolescents, even the young ones. You don't take responsibility as a mother to sit down your children. You don't take responsibility as a father to sit down your children, to speak to them about the dangers of being indisciplined, the dangers of not being respectful, the dangers of early sex, the dangers of taking drugs, the dangers of peer groups, the dangers of all that could ruin their lives. Now, it is your responsibility as a parent to always sit down your children. Remember, when our kids are still very young, we speak to them, we teach them not to do certain things. Don't do this. Oh, don't touch this. This has to be here. This has to be there. Now, when that time passes and they have grown to a certain age, we need not to give up on them. We have to keep guiding them, speaking to them, and letting them know, or just pouring the world out to them, putting light into their eyes, letting them know how the world is moving as per now. Speak to them. If it's a girl, talk to her. Talk about the menstruation. Talk about the dangers of falling in love at an early age. Give them examples. Talk to them about trust. Speak to them about how good it is to remain in school. Talk to them about their pride. Let them know who they are. Teach them about respect and dignity. Speak to them on how they should carry themselves best. Give them confidence. Teach them it all begins with you. It starts at an early age. Most children today don't have self-esteem. They are not strong. They don't have the confidence. They cannot literally do anything for themselves. They are very shy to come out and say whatever it is. They are being stepped on. They are being taken for granted. They are getting sick. They are getting into drugs. They are getting addicted to drugs. They are drinking themselves at an early age. Simply because not all of them, of course, who do that have not been guided. Some have been guided, but they remain naughty. But most of these children have not been guided properly or appropriately by their parents back home. It is your cardio responsibility to always get ample time for your children. Those are your children. They will never be any other person's children. And if they don't carry themselves well, if they don't do things right, it all comes back to you. Because when they are taken into jail, when they are being lynched by mob, when they are being treated in any way not good, you feel the pain. As a parent, as a mother, as a father, you feel the pain. You wish you could take back time, but when it's not possible. Now I'm here to advise you to always talk to your children. If it's a boy child and you have your husband, let your husband speak to him. Let your husband talk to him about life, how to carry himself. Teach your children to fear God. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. How many of us parents, sit our children down and talk to them about God, going to the mosque, going to church, reading a Quran, reading the Bible, being humble. Do you actually have any idea that when a child fears God, when a child has the fear of God at heart, they are always humble. because they know mostly they know if they are not respectful, if they are not disciplined, that is not what is required of them as per the Quran or the Bible. They always want to please God. Kids who have always been directed towards that path have always been humble. Their parents do not get much problems as to a child who has not been guided very well in the religion. Let's teach our children to love God. Every morning, teach them to pray. Evening, teach them to pray. Teach them to respect you. Teach them to respect themselves. Teach them to respect others, both young and old. Teach them how to carry themselves in this world. Pride is nothing. They should be proud of themselves because of who they are. But they should not be so arrogant as they should not be arrogant as a way of portraying their pride. No, that is being proud negatively. Speak to your children. Tell them AIDS is real. Tell them, teach them how to use a condom. Teach your children, if you begin the menstruation, this is what you have to do. When you start seeing your blood, this is how cautious you have to do. Rather, you have to be. You are now a woman. You have to be careful about this and that. Teach them how to, oh my God, show them how important it is for them to remain in school, for them to get a very good paying job. Teach them how to be financially well. Motivate them, guide them, give them examples of you yourself. And if you feel you're not a good example, you're not an inspiration to your children for reasons best well known to you, then give them reasons, rather give them examples of people who inspire you, people who you want them to be in future. Teach them how to read books that inspire them, Teach them on how to carry themselves very well. It is very important. Our children are suffering in relationships mostly because they did not get proper guidance and counseling. Others cannot even do what they are supposed to do just because everything they are getting into is new to them. They have not been talked about it. We have to talk to our children. I know we have the senior women and the male teachers in schools who are supposed to speak to our children. But it makes a very big impact if you as a parent sit down your children and talk to them. And now to the mothers, don't think it's just, you cannot talk to your boy child. No, a child remains a child in front of their parents. In the eyes of a parent, a child will always remain a child. Speak to them regardless. Talk to them. Teach them how to do housework, house chores, domestic work. If you teach your son on how to do domestic work, then you have all reasons to give him pride, In future, he will know how to do things by himself. Even when he gets married, he will never treat his wife as a maid. He will know how to do things. He will not find challenges. He will not have reasons to fight with his wife over work not being well done in a home. Because then, if things are not being done the way he wants them, he steps in for himself. Kids don't know how to cook at the age of 20. They can't do anything for themselves. All they can do is to fry an egg, boil an egg. That's how far they go. They can't do anything much than that. That is a pity. It's a pity to our children. It's a pity. You are doing your children more harm. You're not helping them at all. You're supposed to teach them how to cook. clean a home. Teaching children how to do domestic work is not mistreatment. It's not mistreating them. It is preparing them for their next step, next stage in life. Teaching them how to be clean. Teach them how to shave. Teach them all these basic things. Teach them everything. Let them be empowered. Let them know all these things. It helps them. It helps boost their confidence because they are empowered. They have knowledge on how to do all the basic things in life. Most of the girls are failing their relationships. They cannot keep in that relationship because they don't know what to do. They can't do laundry for their boyfriends, even for themselves. They just want their boyfriends to do everything for them. So for them, they just sit as queens to wait for things to be done for them. They are not supportive in any way, They cannot literally do anything. But I mean, this girl child is going to get married tomorrow. I'm not saying you should prepare your child for marriage. You should prepare your child on how to do domestic work. But I mean, this is basic. It is important. Because even if she gets married and then tomorrow she hires maids, I mean, they are not going to do everything for her, and the condition may not be so permanent. There could be a time when she needs to step in and do things for her own, rather than her own. Prepare your child. When you prepare your child, it also helps you. A lot of parents today are crying. Their children, I have spoken to so many parents, and Sophia, my son cannot even help me do anything at home. My son cannot cook. He cannot wake up and help me to clean the house. You see? And then every morning you have to wake up and help him and clean his house. Clean his room. You help him make his bed. He just wakes up and, jumps out of bed and goes to do whatever he want to do. And then for you as his mother, as his dad, you want to help him clean the house, do for him stuff. And then when you see a visitor in your house doing for you these things, a visitor who is of the same age as your children, you want to compare him or her to your children. You feel the hate, you feel the pain of your children not wanting to do for you stuff, forgetting you did not at all guide them. Let us teach our children. Let's guide them. It's not poisoning them. It's preparing them for the next life. You wouldn't want to see your daughter or son struggling doing work at home for their children, just like you are struggling with your own right now. Help them. Guide them, support them, love them so much that you teach them what is good and best for them. That is not mistreating them. It's preparing them. It's doing the best for your child now. That is your child. Whatever you do for him or her will be accredited to you. It's for their own good. If you prepare them today, it's for their own good. Teach them how to be humble. Teach them how to be respectful. If we all got up as parents and taught our daughters and sons how to be respectful, how to carry themselves well, how to be loving, to teach them that loving is caring, teaching them how to be responsible, teaching them how to support themselves financially, morally, physically, teaching them how to support others, not to be selfish. We would not be struggling in our marriages because we would then be having the best husbands because they were mentored back home. We would be having the best wives because they were mentored back home. They were told these things. They have grown up in that environment. They have grown up seeing their dad being the best to their mother, seeing their mother being the best wife to their father. Let us learn to live by example. Our children are suffering. Our children are losing their relationships. They are being looked down onto. They cannot keep up a job because they lack morals. They lack discipline. They can talk to anyone about anything in any way. They are disrespectful. They don't know when to talk and when not to talk. They don't know when to say no and when to say yes. Because we did not teach them. Because we did not tell them how best these things are. Because they have grown up not seeing this in their fathers and mothers' home. Everything is new to them. Come on. Do you feel good? Would you feel good to see your child rotting in jail just because he cannot stop fighting? Just because he cannot stop raping? Just because he cannot stop abusing drugs? Just because he's beating you up? We are seeing children beating their parents. But if you go back to the roots, how many of us are blaming it on the child because we played our part? As a parent, you played your part very well. You guided, counseled, and motivated your children in their early stage. You talked to them, you spoke to them about life. You guided them. You led as an example in your own home. And then the child does the contrary. Then it's not your own making. You played your part, your responsibility as a parent. So if the child does the contrary, that is their problem. It's not you to blame. By the way, even deep down in your heart, you will be at ease. Oh, I did what I was supposed to do as a parent. But the child could not just listen. I tried. I did it. He couldn't listen. Let him learn the hard way. Yes, it pains you as a parent, but it can never pain you so much as this one who was not guided. As a parent who did not do anything to their child, who spoon-fed their child. You feel the heat. You feel like you could take back time, but it's not possible. You can't do that. You cannot do that at all. Let's learn to be in our children's life. Be in their life. When a child comes to you to discuss with you, to tell you about what they are going through, listen to them. Give them a shoulder to lean on. Counsel them, motivate them. Go through that with them. Go through the pain with them. Guide them, Just give them a reason to carry on. Don't be this parent who the child cannot even speak to. Your child can't speak to you. They can't. They cannot confide in you. You are not their friend. Why? It's very wrong. I have seen children who have committed suicide. I have seen children who have attempted suicide, and when they come out of it, when being asked, they say, I had no one to talk to. I feared if I told my mother. I feared if I told my father. Why? I am not saying you should be very soft to your kids, but you don't have to. You actually are not supposed to be any hard to your children. Being hard on them does not mean you are proving any point. It doesn't mean that is the only way they can do right. No. Speak to them. Tell them what is right. Just be open with them. Be free with them. Be their friend, their confidant. Be true to them. Tell them the whole truth. Don't just tell them what they want to hear. No, tell them the whole truth. And don't forget to lead by example. Live by example. When you live by example, you are leading them. Don't forget to lead by example. Let your kids look up to you. Inspire them, motivate them, be their source of inspiration. Let them run to you at any time for anything. Let them think about you first. Let's be in our children's lives. And now when it comes to parents who are just co-parenting, oh my God, the reverse becomes the case. It now becomes worse. Because now this child is not living with both parents. I think I don't have to go there now. It will be a topic for another day. It's a whole long topic. But let's learn to be in our children's lives. Be in their life. Guide them, motivate them, prepare them for the future. Prepare them for the future. Don't spoon feed them. You're giving them everything today. Everything, literally everything. That is what every parent would love to do for their children. But what happens if everything now turns into nothing? How best have you prepared them? Did you teach them any skill? Did you speak to them about acquiring a profession? Keeping in school? Did you teach them? Did you just guide them properly? How sure are you that these children are going to make you proud? If I may ask you, when you look at your children, do they make you proud? Do you think as you keep aging in your in your elderly times, do you think these children are going to stand with you? Do you think they are going to take the best care, to give you the best care? Do you think these children are really going to give you time? That is a question you need to answer. And it begins now. It depends on how you have prepared the mind of your children, on how to carry themselves, on how to live well with others, on how to be humble in life, polite and kindness. It is so basic.